heartbreak I saw coming. Sometimes the hardest part of a relationship isn't the breakup itself. It's the feeling that it's coming, knowing deep down that it's inevitable, but feeling powerless to stop it. There's a certain kind of heartbreak that isn't sudden. It doesn't come as a surprise, doesn't knock you off your feet. Instead, it lingers, like a storm on the horizon, and you can feel it coming before it even hits you. I remember when it all started to shift. At first, everything was perfect, at least. That's what I told myself. He made me laugh. We shared our favorite songs. And I thought we understood each other in ways no one else could. The kind of love that felt natural, like it had always been there, even before we knew it. It was easy. And for a while, I let myself believe that we were invincible, that nothing could tear us apart. But as time went on, something began to change. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. It wasn't one big thing. It was 1,000 little things. The way he started to pull away, little by little, without saying anything. The way our conversations began to feel more forced, like we were trying to fill the empty spaces with words that didn't matter. The way we stopped making time for each other, and the silence between us started to feel louder than the words we spoke. I could feel it happening, slowly, but surely. I could feel us slipping apart, but I didn't want to admit it. I told myself it was just a rough patch, that we'd get through it. I tried to convince myself that everything would be fine, that we'd find our way back to each other. But deep down, I knew. I knew the storm was coming, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. There were nights when I lay awake, thinking about the future, wondering what would happen next. I could see the end in my mind. Even though I didn't want to, I could see us walking away from each other, not because we didn't love each other, but because we had outgrown what we once had. I saw the quiet distance growing between us, and I knew that we weren't the same people we had been when we first met. I tried to ignore it. I tried to hold on, to hope that if I just kept loving him, if I just kept trying, things would get better. But love isn't always enough. And sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you can't fix something that's already broken. And then one day it happened. He looked at me with that sadness in his eyes. The kind of sadness that comes when you've already made up your mind, when you know something is over before you even say it. And I knew what he was going to say before he said it. I had seen it coming, had felt it for weeks, maybe even months. But hearing the words still hurt. I think we need to take a break, he said. And even though I had seen it coming, even though I had braced myself for it, the pain was still sharp. It wasn't a dramatic breakup. There were no angry words, no accusations. Just two people who had grown apart, who realized that they couldn't keep holding on to something that wasn't working anymore. It was the kind of heartbreak that makes you question everything. The kind of heartbreak that doesn't feel like it comes out of nowhere, because you've seen the signs all along. But that doesn't make it hurt any less. The hardest part wasn't the goodbye itself. It was knowing that I had watched it unfold, that I had seen the end coming, but had been too afraid to face it. We parted ways quietly, both of us trying to hold on to the pieces of ourselves that had been lost along the way. And for a long time, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop wondering if there was something I could have done differently. Could I have said something sooner? Could I have seen the signs earlier? But the truth is, sometimes things just don't work out. And sometimes, love isn't enough to fix what's broken. Looking back, I realize now that the hardest part of it all wasn't the heartbreak. It was the realization that sometimes we don't have control over what happens to us. We can see the end. We can feel the distance growing. But we can't always change it. Sometimes, the best thing we can do is let go. Even when it's the hardest thing we've ever done. I learned a lot from that relationship. I learned that love isn't just about holding on. Sometimes it's about knowing when to let go. I learned that not every relationship is meant to last, and that's okay. I learned that sometimes heartbreak is a part of growing, of learning, of becoming the person you need to be. And I learned that even when you see the heartbreak coming, even when you know it's inevitable, it's still worth loving, because love, even when it ends, is never a waste. It teaches you, it shapes you, and it makes you stronger in the end. I'm Lucy, and this is Unsaid Love.